All right, I'm going to take another crack here at Seljuk. This is the starting positions once again. 3 lords on each side. Their forces allocated, whatever. I don't have a lot of hope that I'm going to be able to play it any better than I was. I don't know what it is about this game. Levy and campaign is always rough. But I don't feel like I'm going to I'm walking into this with a better idea really of what I'm doing, even though I played half a game of it and came to a point where both players failed to have a single lord survive because they didn't raise enough taxes, plunder, whatever, to keep their forces in the field. So everybody just dissolved at once. It's a really unlikely thing to happen. I do remember something similar to that happening maybe in Nevsky, where I fucked up and one side lost because of that, and that's why I had to replay it. It seems to sound familiar to me. I know with some of the others, I played a little bit, got used to the system and whatnot. There are things with this one that feel like it's pushing it, even though the rules aren't more complex, that it's pushing the decision-making to a harder place, where what you just have to do to stay alive in the game is tougher. Especially with the Seljuks who have to, I gotta swap batteries. This wasn't ready, it failed to charge. I have a particular problem in that they have to meet this unity number each turn or they lose a pile of victory points, and that unity number basically means that they have to have damaged either by creating ruins, which is actually what they should be doing, not conquering stuff. They should destroy stuff, or look for it. Ravaging. Call it plundering, but plundering is what happens after siege. Ravaging territories. They have to have a whole lot of territories with like half victory point markers on them, basically. And that's not going to get them a lot of victory points because the ravaging markers disappear every spring, but they have to have a whole bunch of them out every winter in order to not give permanent victory points to the Byzantines. What I did find was that the Byzantines can field a powerful army that can scare the Seljuks off, but they may have trouble keeping that army in the field. First of all, it returns to Constantinople every winter, pretty much. There are cards which can prevent that, I guess. Which means they have a long walk each time. It does give them the advantage that they can raise taxes at Constantinople and keep their forces in the field. This is the one thing that destroyed, that caused my game to end prematurely, about here somewhere, which is that, yeah, both sides basically failed to raise taxes to keep their armies in the field. And so all their lords disappeared. Now, none of them were disappeared permanently from that, but with no lords, you can't play this game. So you have to always make sure you keep somebody in the field. I made other mistakes, though, I haven't filled that in yet. Like the Seljuks had allowed Alp Arslan to disappear because he took some losses, so it felt better to recycle him. But he's got such a long recycling time, it's a pain in the ass to do that. To have him come back, to take him off the field. Plus, there really isn't anyone with enough lordship to at all fulfill his position on the field. Now, the Romans have an advantage in that they have sort of a secondary commander available. I'm not sure he's actually an advantage. It's this Manuel Romanos. He's kind of iffy. I think there may be an event or something that causes him to make problems because you have to. There's a card that forces you to muster him, And it's kind of like, that's a kind of weird thing to do. He also doesn't stick around as long. He doesn't have as long a service time, etc. So he's not really a substitute for the Emperor, but if the Emperor has to come off the board, you do have another commander which can, field a large army. The Seljuks are less interested in sieges. That much I'm sure of. They don't want to actually fight and take places for the most part. It's too slow. They don't gather up enough points for these when they do so. If they get an easy shot on a fort or something, sure, maybe they'll take it and turn it into a ruin. There are a number of issues in the rules where I feel like things are a little ambiguous. Even sometimes when I go into the playbook for the cards or whatever, because the cards don't contain enough information to tell you everything that they have on them. But so far, this has felt like the most challenging of the Levian campaign games, and already they're a heavy burden on my way of thinking and my way of processing. I'm having a hellacious time trying to play these Levian campaigns, any of them, well. Okay, the mechanisms. I like the system in theory, but actually playing it is almost a nightmare of frustration for me because of the things you have to do to keep your armies in the field and operating, in terms of gathering up supplies, in terms of remembering to tax or getting loot or whatever. And the loot, you can't use it everywhere. You can only use it in a friendly location. I'm going to be a lot lighter, I hope, in my play of the game, not focusing in so much on the things that are frustrating me, just playing through them. I may screw shit up. I'm sure I'll screw shit up still. I am sure, because there feels like there's a heavier information burden. The load in this game is just heavier to cope with. And then some of the terrain is just sort of nightmarish. Like, it feels like you should have a pass that goes through here, right? There should be more options for movement where there's just areas where there's no way, like here, between these two. They look close to each other, right? And it's kind of funny that there's not more pathways. I don't know what that's meaning to represent. Trackless deserts, I have no idea whatsoever. I could, look at other maps and find stuff out to find the arguments. But, there's just areas where it's rougher to move. It feels like you're moving close to someone and you're not actually, just because you gotta take the graph into mind as opposed to sort of a geographical type image of what's going on. All right, got it all set up. Planning on coming back up. If I'm struggling as much as I was last time, I'm just going to call it, because I have the feeling that maybe with enough study, or I'm sure with enough study, one can play this effectively. It feels harder to cope with than what I thought were the heavier Levian campaigns before. And they feel heavier than this one in terms of rules burden and whatnot. Things like Inferno and Almoravid felt like they had, and Plantagenet, felt like they had more going on. Plantagenet was very weird. It was very different from the rest of these. But yeah, Inferno and Almoravid definitely felt like they were pushing the rules envelope further. This one feels like it's more just the terrain, and I don't know. I don't know what else. Maybe how long it's been since I played one. But it was a longer period between Nevsky and whichever, I think, Almoravid that I played next, right? So I don't know. I may just be getting too stupid to play these. That may be the case, but I doubt that because I don't think I've gotten that stupid in the year or so, right? You might convince me in the time since Nevsky, but again, you know, I didn't read through the rules aloud with you guys. That may be a part of it. I don't know. Bother. Battery did not charge. This camera just doesn't charge anymore. It pretends to. Anyway, we got Seljuk cards. Remember, we get capabilities on the first turn of the game. This one I can't use. Terrible. Lords. Oh, wait. This is an Alparslan. Isn't it? Yeah. I can use this. So his Turkic horse get an armor bonus until they start routing. Then I got this shock tactics. I can put this over here. I don't want to do that. I'm going to give it to Arsigi instead. Although I don't really expect him to have to fight. I don't want to make Alparslan too military. I got to swap batteries. I'll pull the Romans. One I can't use. It's these two by Normans. Pity. And one that I don't know how great it is. Imperial Coffers. Discard during Arts of War. If a Roman is adjacent to Robert or Roussel, make a loyalty check against them. Oh, can't even be levied. So I got nothing. I got nothing. Okay. Fair enough. And not going to pay anybody on this first turn. No disbands. It's time to go to the musters. And this is where I have to start doing my thinking, because even right at muster, see, one of the problems, I got 7 cards to use. I got 3 lords to disperse them from. This guy's got to spend an entire card to get to there, but he's useful. All kinds of complexity. I have found this to be incredibly valuable, so I might want to go with that. I'll look through my Arts of War, make my decisions, whatnot, just like I did in the other game. But hopefully this one will be 4 videos as well. 1 per year. That would work. Seljuks only have 1 lordship on him. I took the Steppe Raiders. I think these are really cool. I would like those extra troops, but I would like more cart too. This guy spent his 2, 1 on a cart, 1 on the Marwind Alliance. I'm probably not planning on using him. He's got an opponent right there. And then over here, a couple of carts and a troop with my lordships. I took the Turkic horse this time. I don't know if it's that good, but since I have this, I know it's not. It doesn't really make a difference because if I take 3 routes, I lose that armor factor. But yeah, let's look at the Romans. Here I mustered my Tagmata and improved them. Gave him centralized administration. I want the 5 actions to get me to the border. I can always discard it later. My other 2 were on carts here. I thought about bringing the Varangians, the retinue, in play, but it only lasts for 1 turn, which means I have to start worrying about, you know, upping his service rating right from the beginning. Eudokia, I just think she's useful. I spent that off of here and bought him a cart. Again, similar to him, I don't think I'm going to use that leader, although I do have to worry about taxation to boost his service rating. This game, I'm not raising the Lord here. There just aren't enough cards to move all my dudes, you know? And I could actually use this guy, although because he took cart instead of troops, he restored this, he's not really that interesting. So I'm probably going to be using these 2 and try to push with a major force, probably wherever Alparslan goes, just to chase him off and make sure he can't do much. That puts me to the arms mustering, and see, here we got the problem. We do this, and we're not able to put this little red thing out, which might be an issue. Let me just take a look. This is the call to arms. The Empress, I could pull a cylinder closer. I don't know that I really want to do that. Because I'm not going to be in Constantinople next turn. Screw this. That's one I get back. I'll take a cart back. And I will indeed. Yeah, it's such a pain in the ass because now I have to tax. But I'll take the Scola and the Varangians into my force as well. Again, I don't want to take this because that puts me over that 8. But this 3, 6, 7, that's good. I could even have taken the other one, but anyway, over here I do want the alliance. That costs me a coin, if I recall correctly, to put a marker out there. I found the Empress was just not helping me when I was playing before. That should put me to the end of levy and into campaign. Like I was before, I'm going to break. But yeah, I've got a little bit better idea of how to start this sucker, even if, and what my goals should be. Yeah, and I'm sure, I don't know, I read the player's notes. Let me take a look at them again. My feeling was, because of other games of the series, that I should be conquering things, especially the ones that I've played more recently. Nevsky was more reliant on ravaging. But conquering is not the goal for the Seljuks in this. It might be for the Romans. Ravaging stuff is less permanent, and they don't have this stupid goal that they really have to worry about so heavily. So I stacked my 2 command decks. Thoughts? I plan on using this as a combined tool the way I did last game. Presumably moving forward to intercept Alp Arslan. With Alp Arslan and Arasigi, I'm looking at, I want to get them together. Because otherwise, I just keep Alp here taxing and start him out next turn. The reason for this is so that I can operate a second command somewhere. You have enough cards to really move 2 commanders or 2 officers. And obviously, you know, you kind of want to have somebody and you want a lieutenant and their underling as one of your stacks and your other stack to be your commander or whatever. But actually, a dual stack is very powerful. It's able to move more quickly because the secondary guy, not under a lieutenant, but the secondary guy under a commander can draw resources. So that's my plan. We'll see how it works out. And tax when possible. But the Seljuks can't afford to because they have to do raiding, and the Imperials can't afford to just sit back and tax because they have to interfere with the Seljuks raiding to try to gain victory points from preventing them. Feeling the pressures and realizing, hey, I didn't calculate all that well. I did a taxation with 2 with Nicephorus, and I did not do 1 with Romanos because I did 2 with Nicephorus. So I can move out here. But already I'm looking and I'm like, wow, gotta gather food. This guy doesn't have food. I don't have enough food for these. Yeah. You're the enemy if you don't have enough providence. or provender. So here I'm looking at, oh, look, I could just move 1, 2, 3, either of these routes, 4, 5, run right into him and attack. I don't have the food to do that yet, so I'm going to have to expend some to feed. Well, each one only gets me 1 food. So if I take 1, that gets me 2. Then I could be here with no food, so that's no good. But I kind of don't even, like, this will prevent him from just streaming through, because I believe when you enter a space, if you bypass, you're stopped. Let me make sure of that. That is highly important. So I can't get really next to him because he could just move in and attack me and I won't have any food, but I could get relatively close. Now I look at my next card. My next card is a Nicephorus, which means I'm going to be doing nothing but supply with that. So I want to get as far as I can, which is 1, 2, 3. And now I supply twice because I won't have enough food otherwise. That's still not going to get me much. That's enough to feed both of these, and that's it. A little bit more flexibility, because I take the move pay, right? So I could actually hit this right off and push him out of there. The problem with that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that works, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it does not work. I can fight him here safely, because then I could feed afterwards or whatever. See, the reason I have a little more flexibility is I have these coins. They allow me to last because I can pay somebody off right after, like, before they disband. And you know, the danger is that when you don't feed somebody, their loyalty, their service marker moves down. And so they're more likely to break apart. So it's not actually a huge thing. Like if we look at this, each player who lost does this. If you don't feed, you lose a seasonal box left, and then you might be required to disband. Food is easy to get though, coins are not. So if I run here, I just chase Alp Arslan back, is all that happens. So I'd be expending a lot. Of course, I would be taking away some of his actions, so who knows? Where to coordinate these two is hampered because I don't have the alliance piece here or whatever that would allow me to flexibly draw supplies from anywhere, which means he's got to draw his supplies from back here. Arslan's got to draw his from here. I've got an Alp Arslan right now. I don't want to charge forward. That doesn't seem good. I don't really want to stay here, so I'm thinking falling back, but here's the problem. I've got another Arslan card coming at the end, and supplies without Theodosiopoulos is difficult. That is the center point of all these roadways. Otherwise, I have to run through this. This costs 4. That's my whole cart value there. I am laden with this loot, so I could just grab 4 more food because I can carry all that, but then I can't run away laden. That's no good. Yeah, and being laden is painful anyway. I don't know. The best I can do, but now I'm at threat with this, and I might have to give up the stuff that I've captured. I do have him next. I'm assuming it's another Diogenes, though. It's not! That's a big win. The fact that it's not another Diogenes means this isn't going to be able to charge forward. He's in a difficult position. I can grab a food. I almost certainly want to do that. I've only got 1 cart, though. Then I can move up here, or I can move here. I can move here and lay siege to that. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't even think I can't lay siege. I need 2 lords, I believe. Let me check that. It's only advancing the siege, which would require me to have 2 lords there. How do we do this? Do we pull down? We might be able to, because we can place this next turn. So if I grab 1 food with him, and then go 2-3 to put a siege in place, I will be able to bring Alp Arslan down through here. It's going to be hard for Diogenes to cut this, though maybe not impossible. I don't have enough move to do anything else, and Arsigi loses this. He doesn't have the carts to supply out of here on his own turn. Alp Arslan doesn't have the carts. He's not allowed to supply out of here to get up to there, no matter what. But that's okay. I think I'm far enough away from any enemy threats. So this is what I'm going with. But you can see I'm like a little uncertain about the calculations that I'm making. And that's where you fall apart in this game, is you fuck up and you get the calculation wrong and you lose the game because of it or something, you know, essentially. And this one feels nastier in terms of the supply than I recall them being. But maybe Nevsky was just as bad. I don't recall. It's been a while. The same situation. Diogenes is next. He's got another Diogenes under here. He doesn't necessarily know that, but 1, 2, 3. I have a +1 because I have this in place. Oh, do I have a supply route? Yes, I still have a supply route in place. So I can go 5, which means I could gather me some supplies and march down to there and put a threat in there. Is that good enough? It might be. Because he either has to stay there or run away and give up his loot. Real conundrum for Arslan, because if he abandons his loot, he gives it up to them. That's pay, essentially. It's not quite a coin, but it's close. And, I mean, in some ways it's not even provender. But anyway. I could either fall back towards here, which is not what I was choosing to do, or fall back here. But if I leave him here, there is a possibility that he could bring more forces up, make this the center of his attempt, and try to take Arslan out, because Arslan is the victory conditions for the game. I can't force Arslan to surrender, which might be okay. I don't see a garden there. Like, there's a fair-sized, I know I'm talking too much here. No, there's not much of a garrison. Shit. God. I don't know if I want to run or not. That's the whole thing. Like, is it okay to just let him siege me? I was carrying too much provender. I'd have 1 less. Which I don't know what that means. But I can't haul all of it. Was there something else I could do? I could tax. No, I can't tax. Yeah, I can't eat my food before I move. So I was like back here and did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. but that's not good. So I think I just take one less food because there's nothing else I can do. I could bypass and ravage, plunder, whatever, but I'd rather not do that because I'm going to need to live off the land where I am. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's the big question about Arslan. Does he want to hold there? I mean, I don't know. I got the now. Here's where the shields would make a difference. The hidden, the fog of war type. There's screens that you can put people behind. Because I wouldn't know necessarily. Well, I would because I'm playing with this role. I would know that he's got his vassal on the board and what his troops would be at this point. If calendars were kind of hidden, that would be a different factor. Anyway. I think I have to flee. That gives me a moved fought, which means I have to, well, actually I have to leave this behind. Everybody's got a moved fought. So this goes down to 1. This goes down to 2. And this goes down to 2. And I still feel like I'm blundering around, right? Like, I don't know which side made the right call in terms of this situation. And maybe they both did, although it definitely feels like they both couldn't have. Like, somebody blundered to let, like, either Arslan blundered by being here, although I don't know where else he could go given my initial plans. Or the Romans blundered by going that far, but that may have been made up for by Arslan, like, retreating. I just don't know. I feel like I can't tell whether somebody got an advantage out of all of that. And that puts me over on the last Arslan. He doesn't have a lot of food now, but he doesn't need it. You know, he needs to gather supplies using forage. Forage, unravaged friendly stronghold is automatic. So I can get 2 food and move to here. I'm not going to be able to advance. I could storm it, but so we're going to go up to a 3 food there. Yeah, paying way too much attention, but I am moving more swiftly. And now we're on Romanos again. Didn't ravage, so I can forage. For what that's worth. And now there was something screwy about the way the foraging was worded. And this is what I really shouldn't be doing. But I recall this where the way it was worded, there's not a garden there, so it's not an issue. But the way it was worded, I think gardens, if you play by the rules as written, you can forage the gardens. I don't know. As long as there's not an enemy besieging it or something like that. I don't know. But I'm going to have to roll no matter what to forage, or I could extend my siege. This is only a 1-point town. I don't have a lot of food. Seljuks could do nasty stuff to me conceivably if I'm out of food. So I want to make sure that I have food. So I'm not going to promote the siege. I'm going to forage. I was thinking about, I could cut down here, but I got to stop here. And that takes the advantage away. There's a card that allows you to bypass without stopping. I don't remember if it's an event or a capability. Things have turned out, I'm going to get rid of the step raiders because Arasigi has to get rid of something. And over here, I get rid of a crappy provender. I've got enough to live off of for, you know, one movement between the two, which lets me retreat. And then over to this side. Over here, I got rid of a provender there. I think this guy got rid of a provender as well. Here, I got rid of a loot. The loot, while valuable, almost a coin in some ways, right? Well, not if you're on campaign. It's a pain in the ass. It makes you overloaded. Yes, if you are overloaded, you can haul loot without any extra carts or anything because it's cattle and stuff. So that's my wastage. We have no themata out there, and we advance. And we never remember to move this. And we're at one full victory point after the spring growth. Because it doesn't really do the Seljuks much to ravage stuff just at spring. Although it can be kind of cool because they gather loot. And then in areas that are already ravaged that recover, they can loot them again. So I don't know. There's a lot of different things that you can play around with in this game. That's not what I'm going with. And we got through that first turn relatively quickly for me, compared to last time at least. Caught a mistake. During wastage, I threw the wrong card away. I need to keep the Emperor's Retinue. I don't know what happens if I throw that away. Like, I guess it just disappears as if it's destroyed or whatever. Temporarily. I don't know. Anyway, we're on the levy phase of the second turn. I got me some worries. I really do feel like this one is the hardest of the games to manipulate your forces properly in. Some of it's the terrain. A lot of it's the terrain. But let's take a look at our events now. Summer Heat. Playing Summer after Romans reveal a command card. That Lord is command 1. That is going to be a really, really powerful thing that can prevent me from being chased. And Norman Scheming. If Roussel or Robert is a Seljuk ally, the Romans discard a card. It's not the case, so we'll just put that aside. And we shuffle these as well. Michael Adelatis. Play on Romans during muster for Lordship +1. Now, he is this guy? No. Okay. I can look up who he is, but Afson recalled. Shift Afson, Berg, Cylinder, or Service, 1 calendar box. This is a halt, yeah. Afson is not on the board. So, I look, he's the swords. He shifts. He will not be available this turn. That's kind of a big deal. Because I was counting on being able to grow him. Although, maybe it's not that huge a thing. But it makes him more important because I've got these two together. Or I operate them as a pair. I got rid of the thing that makes them not work as a pair as well. The longer distance rating. It's pay time. Sometimes it's worth paying your money ahead of time. I don't know. But the Emperor definitely needs to if he wants to keep his garrison. So he shoots way out there. And nothing will disband because of that. And now it's time for the hard muster. In the trouble position now, you can muster within enemy territory as long as it's friendly controlled. But nobody succeeded in taking what they're sieging. So all we have is just these two guys to muster with. Which is kind of makes it better that I lost a guy in a way. Like, I don't know. I'm looking for cards on him. He's got very little he can do. He can muster himself a couple of carts, I guess. That's about it. I can't do this. Oh, yes, I can. I don't have to be muster. That's the call to arms thing. Yeah, but it does cause issues. Finding struggles here. The Artukid or Arlukid, I can't tell if that's a T or an L, legacy. This lord, it's only one particular guy that I don't have, comes in here. Can always use Meaferican and Amid as supply source and for returning loot during bounty. This is very interesting, and it led me to say, wait a minute, can't I anyway? Well, no, it means I don't need the marker. Okay, that I understand now. But then I looked over here because of this card, and it's an interesting order. Winter Quarters allows you to go back to your seat. So you're allowed to do the bounty, go back to your seat before the alliance is removed. That's how I thought it was. You might have trouble recycling the alliance over, but that's only in winter that's a problem, that goes away. But yeah, so this is an interesting card that allows him to use these two, even if nobody else, even if you're not committed to that alliance. But my first thought was, wait a minute, is there some ordering here where you're not allowed to, go back there? And no, it actually it works as I had thought it had. This later, so I'm dropping both of these on him. Unstoppable Turkmens. I'm going with the deep raids, which will get me victory points for ending up back here. I can do some looting there. The Unstoppable Turkmen is going to allow me to raid locations that I'm adjacent to. I don't know if that's worth it. I don't need another fucking card. See, here's the thing. I go here, I pillage. I go here, I pillage. I'm in danger of a fight. Instead of this, I think I'll get some troops because he doesn't have troops. Gulan Cavalry. Now there's something that just these alone are able to do. I don't remember what the fuck it was. There's some kind of movement capability that if I am able to just get down to Turkic Raiders like he is, I have some kind of advantage. I don't remember if it's a capability or a rule. If it's a rule, I'm really, really disturbed because... but I don't remember seeing a capability for it. It's not in the rules section for Turkic Horse, which I looked up through the index, but it appears to be here. If all Turkic Horse, first march is -1 command cost per command card. Which I might have been able to... I might have had an advantage there, which I forgot. If a single Seljuk lord conceding to a single Roman lord, both sides take a reduced pursuit. I gotta remember those things. The one is definitely just a battle thing, in which case it belongs on this chart. The other one, yeah, it's in the rules somewhere as well, but it's not under Turkic Horse if you look up Turkic Horse, which gives you 1.6 forces and doesn't tell you anything useful about that, which is another gripe. Like, I don't need to look up Turkic Horse to find out that it's a type of force, right? That I can tell, but I do need this rule, and like, it is there, but it's also somewhere in the rule book, and I should have been able to find it by looking in the index. The index is quite packed in terms of number of things. It uses up the whole page at a small font, at a small point size, but it's also not been 100% effective for me. And that means I'm over here, and again, I know I'm talking too much. Although, that means that even after having played halfway through the game, making lots of mistakes, I'm still getting hit with too much overload, because whenever I do pick up and talk too much, it's something like this, where there's, a rule that I can't find that I have to look up, or a decision point that's just too hard. I can tell you one thing I fucked up though, and I'm going to repair it, is over in the levy stage, call to arms. I didn't do this, but I could have done the strategic objective marker. I'm going to have one available to me because I did not do a call to arms. I don't get to place it this turn, that's fine, but I have to have someone in Constantinople, right? Yeah, I have to. But already? See, now this is interesting. If desired and if a Roman commander is in, I brought this up before, is in Constantinople, the Roman player can place a strategic marker from the supply and make it available to them. Alternatively, if they have at least one available from a previous call to arms, they may instead place on one of those things, but it doesn't look like I have to be in Constantinople in order to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm saying I want to make attacks, and now on this next turn, just like I can place this that I paid for last turn, but I think I still would be able to, I can place this somewhere that I don't own yet. And I can place it on any enemy stronghold or lord. And that becomes my objective, to kill that. It might be this lord, because he's like off doing stuff. But I have to do the Roman muster now. I've completed. I only had one guy, but I had to hunt down the cards and figure out and all that. And we'll see what he can do. I'm planning on using him. Try to get him deep before winter. A couple of Tagmata for him. It's not optimal, but I can see what he did. It's not behind a hidden screen or anything. Therefore, I can react. Now, there's potential for all kind of bluffery here, right? The fact that I reacted means he's almost certainly going to play some of those cards. But he might decide not to play any of Ibn Khan's and instead just focus on this. And he may decide not to go with his choices as well, right? It's just, there's this sort of, hey, these forces can work much more effectively if I'm using both the lords in them. By the way, I'm getting a pretty good idea of why this game is so troublesome. Note how far I had to go to start laying siege to something. Now I can't muster. In most of the games of the series that I'm used to, and again, I don't remember Nevsky that much. I remember Nevsky being not as bad as this, I think, but maybe a little worse than some of the others. In most of the games, I could take stuff and make sure I had friendly locations that I could muster in. Here, for the Empire, you basically have to walk to the, to do that, you'd have to walk to the edge of the Imperial border and not cross it. And maybe use more lords because of that. Whereas, oh, I don't want either of these. This guy musters here, which I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know what the implications are. Like, if it's besieged, does he muster back here? In which case, I definitely don't want him. This guy musters back there. Don't want him. He's just too far. I'd have to march him all the way up. Yeah, he could tax, and gather up cash, and then move with Romanos next year or something. But I can't plan that far ahead. But yeah, and then the fact that I moved here chased Alp Arslan away, so these forces weren't able to do as much as maybe they could have, but they did have to get together in order to siege. Not that the Seljuks are trying to siege, but it does mean that if they're inside Roman territory ravaging, they're not going to be mustering either. There are some cards to allow you to muster, or, well, not muster, but to replace units, lost units and stuff from within enemy territory. But those aren't the same kind of power as having mustering, lords capable of mustering. Right. So now that we did that, that gets us to the biggie. I was counting on this, so I'm going to play that as my call to arms. I need that. I need the supplies here to be able to operate those two forces. I don't know what I'm going to pick in terms of my card ordering or how important he's going to be. And over on this side, where can I put this? I'm going to put it on the stronghold that I'm sieging. Because as far as I can tell, I don't have to be in Constantinople to do this. I think I brought up this issue before. I think the designer's sick of my babbling. He is still watching and making notes. For example, I remember on the last one he did mention that Alp Arslan historically left the map when in the turn that I had him leave the map. So it's not, a terrible thing. Anyway, that's going to put us to the campaign, and I kind of like taking that break here. I know I'm chattering more than I should, but that's just me. Note on that. I mentioned I went dancing, and then I finished the game after that with the last series. But while I was out at the bar, I tried to connect with a couple of guys to kind of join my Tuesday gaming group. One of them, these are people I've gamed with before. Well, I've tried to set up gaming with before in one case. I have gamed with before a couple of times with one of the others, with the other one. But it's complicated my life in terms of scheduling gaming. So before I was just reliant on, this one woman to set up weekly gaming, and that was fine. I would find out on Sunday that, yep, there's gaming, there's not. But now that I'm reaching out to other people, which I tried to do right at first too, it's not working as well. And so I got myself some scheduling, an online scheduling site that I logged into to do that. And I don't know, nobody's signing up for it. I did send to the one person who said he was interested. I should send to the other guy, but I don't know how much I trust him to show up. I don't know. He was weird last time, but I'll probably send him one. But then I also sent to the woman to, just drop this on everybody for next week, because I had already gotten one person who said they were going to game this week, and she's not able to. Sick cat. Well, dying cat, and all kind of stuff like that. Kitten she tried to foist on me. Didn't know it was sick at the time. Might not have been if I had it. But yeah, I would not want a dead animal. She's taking it to the vet and everything. Way more money than I spend on my health. So I certainly wouldn't spend it on an animal. And it's just crazy to me. I'd just be like, oh, cat's not working. Guess I bury it out in the woods. Yeah. But anyway, between that and other things, her whole, the connection with her failed me. And that means okay, I'm willing to come from one guy. And yeah, I've gamed with him just one-on-one before, so I actually wouldn't have minded that, but I feel like that's not really what I'm aiming for right now. I don't know. Would have done it. The batteries did not charge. It looks like it's charging, and then I go downstairs and it turns off. as I'm probably partway down the stairs. Uh, anyway, I stacked my command ducks. In both cases, these commanders are getting into play. I tried to be clever in both cases as to what I want going first and what I don't. Got to swap my batteries out and we'll hit. With both sides playing their main commander twice for siege-like activities, which each one actually, Romanos did a siege to begin with, then he did foraging and came up with no food. Alp Arslan did it the opposite side. He gathered supplies and then rolled for a siege. It's really bad that I didn't get any food there on Romanos. That is problematic. And by the way, Arslan saved one of his activities. He did 3 supply actions and 1 ravage action, for whatever that's worth, in both cases. Over here, I got Charturius. Since he's not moving, I took a coin over there. Very hard. In my second action, I took Provender. I probably should have done them in the other order, actually, but I didn't realize he only has 2 commands. He only gets 2 supply off of that. If you have a 1 command guy, you might as well just tax all the time because coin's more valuable than food. Ibn Khan here also doesn't have a lot of actions, which is kind of problematic for what I'm trying to do. He moved into here. He's thrown a siege in place as well, which isn't terribly helpful. Like, I may just leave, but I've got sort of the, what the hell do I do? Actions were failures because I kept throwing these in. Ibn Khan did a ravage of his own, but he spent both his actions to do it, getting himself some loot. I feel kind of stymied by this guy, and he ends up just taxing instead because, yeah, I've got him kind of blocked off. He wants to come through me. I think I'd fight him. I got a pretty decent force in comparison. I probably should not have even programmed Ibn Khan in there and just went all out with this force. It's hard to make the decisions in this game, though. This has kind of a painful situation here. He used his 1 movement point to march into battle. He could have pulled more provender, but then he couldn't carry it with him. And he is going to go for the fight here. You've seen the mechanisms of combat. I am going to ignore them unless they get really exciting. I think Ibn Khan's in trouble. He does have this extra cav that he built. He has the loot, which he's not willing to run away with, but this could mean that he just gets destroyed. Very badly for Ibn Khan after the first round. He's got this. He's going to take the withdrawal, but it's probably like, it sort of doesn't matter because he's going to do half damage. But here's the thing. I want to withdraw. If I do survive, I don't want to be around for another round of this. In the series of rolls, every single unit failed its protection. They got their protection because I tried to withdraw. But I am completely wiped out. I think that kills my dude. These guys, I get to roll 4 too. One of them dies. But this was a major victory by Charturius. Remove them as per 4.85, being dyslexic. Lords removed from battle or storm for failure to withdraw lose all their forces or stack, suffer removal as if disbanding beyond service. That means they're just gone. Now, what's my loot? conceded or was treated, but I failed. I was removed from failing. I transfer all my assets over to him. And that gives him a powerful little pile for the next month, or for the next season. Khan is gone. I don't have any more cards for Shatatorius for this turn, but it's of interest. He clears the siege. He takes all kind of goodies. He's keeping the loot. He ate a provender because he doesn't have another card. And he can use that loot in a friendly fortress to boost however many turns he's got, which is a big deal because everything is due next turn. So this worked out really, really well for the Romans. Could be another quick one, you know, if I'm putting the squeeze on there. Go to finish their sieges and fail. They're both low on food. It's okay. We're not really close to the enemy by my calculations, but sometimes I get confused with this board. Anyway, that puts us to the end of the campaign, and we have the repair. This is the problem with doing the sieges that we did. We each lose a siege. So, like, it's better, it's more effective to have done my supplies on this turn rather than waiting till the next turn, but there's a chance that I succeed and then good stuff happens. So it's like, well, which way do you want to go? Well, both of them decided to go with their sieges. And we're going to hit wastage. Got none here. Know if I need that many cards. It's so hard to make the judgment. Over here, I got lots of goodies. This isn't good. Not thrilled with it, but that's what we're going with. And then we hit any reset that we're doing. And of course, we did not switch the levy counter. This guy is gone from the game. Yippee. We're moving along at a better pace. We're having a lot less trouble. Yes, things went horribly for the Seljuks. This could end up, you know, being a game that ends way too early again. But I'm feeling more comfortable at this point. Anyway, that's the end of 2 seasons. And the only person with any victory points are these guys. They've got an extra half point they picked up here, half point they picked up there. Nowhere near enough to close to their 10-point thing, and they're in a lot of trouble. And again, what do? I get myself stuck into sieges, which is what I'm not supposed to do, but I can't break the desire to conquer territory, especially when ravaging is so expensive for them. Kind of hard to believe. I mean, I don't know, just the seasons passing and everything. Yeah. This is the week of Thanksgiving. I had I don't know if it was last year or I think it was 2 years ago. I went to a Thanksgiving. You know, normally I don't do anything, but I was invited, so I went. Kind of glad I'm not invited anywhere this year. I don't know. I mean, it's like game nights or anything else. Anything where I have to take an active role, you know, in setting things up or whatever, even just cooking something and carrying it downtown, it's just so much for me. But anyway, I'm just like so not ready for any kind of winter type weather. It's cold, but not freezing or anything. But it's chilly out. Anyway, here we are entering the autumn in Seljuk, and we've got some interesting problems facing. I shuffled, I only shuffled this one. I didn't shuffle that one yet. Okay. But we've got a lost leader over there. Got himself into a fight he shouldn't have. But, I couldn't keep running away. And I had a chance of winning, maybe. But as you can see, Shatatorus is in pretty good shape. He is the only leader who will be allowed to muster this turn. Again, operate in enemy territory, and you don't get to grow. We kind of want to win something, right? Now, with the Romans, winning this would be a big deal. With the Byzantines, I'm not sure a siege is what I really, really need to do. But, what I really need to do is get 10 of these things. Well, what do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 with the siege, 5, 6. That's not terrible, but it means I lose 4 victory points. 4 victory points is a lot in this game. And that would be a painful setback. So I almost feel like I have to give up these 2, or maybe one of those 2, and run off, trying to ravage stuff. But here's the problem. Even if first of all, that could spark an easier kill for the Byzantines. But also, all the bonuses that were out there for a raiding party were on that guy. He was the one I was hoping to be able to do it with, even though he was cut off. He was sealed off by this and wasn't really in the best place to do it. But I was planning on gathering these 2. And yeah, I just feel like I'm left with hard decisions. Another hard decision I'm going to have, Romanos has, he and Shatatorus. But Shatatorus is going to disappear this turn if I don't pay him. And I got to make a decision. Is he my only guy who can muster? Is he worth keeping to try to take Hama? And I think so. He has a lot of coin on him. Losing him would be a bad idea, I think. But Romanos has his imperial contingent with him. He's not ready to disappear yet, but I may need to pay to keep that imperial contingent available for me into the spring. Next turn, I'm in Constantinople again. I can tax again. But I'd like to gain something. But meanwhile, the Seljuks also, they have really different goals, and they're pursuing the siege strategy, which just doesn't work for them. It's hard for me to get that out of my mind, that I don't want to take things, that I'm willing to leave areas behind me that are unfriendly, Because what I have to do is go on a real chevauché, essentially, in this game. And this is what I've wanted so much. So this may actually be, granted I wanted it in France, but this may actually be the levying campaign that I most desire. Nevsky kind of has it, but this idea of having to run into enemy terrain and then make your way back and not really get anything, just some loot, that is so I don't know, that's the seminal idea that I had when I was first asking for an operational medieval era game, is that's what it should be like. It's just my brain can't handle it. For the Seljuks, first one is a winter march. This is very useful. Play in winter before bounty to activate a Seljuk lord. Basically, I finish this autumn turn, and then I can make another run to try to get home. That makes him going out on his own very, very appealing. I do have some problems. I kind of want him here to extend the siege and then send him out. Essentially, Alp Arslan can command him multiple times on the siege activity, and then Arasigi can go deeper and try to take other stuff. And that's really kind of the goal. But however far he gets, he has to get himself into range from the bounty using that card. The other one, though, this is really powerful. Well, not really. Alp Arslan gets forage rolls at -2, which means he's very likely to find food. For some reason, this is named his mustache. I feel like I have to look that up. But unless this gets taken, I don't really need to do forage rolls. I'm right next to my supply source right now. There is a possible apocryphal, god damn it, or hagiographical Muslim account of the Sultan in which his mustache is said to have been so long and glorious that he was forced to tie it behind his head in a kind of knot so he could sight down his bow when hunting. Immediately upon discovering this story, there was no doubt that it would appear in the game as an effect. Doesn't sound like something that would impact foraging. But okay, whatever. I mean, a name... I don't know what your mustache could affect. Anyway, let's just pull these Romans. I have shuffled them now. Mountain Ambush can play on the battle if the locale is adjacent to a pass. What is my other one here? Play on Romanos for lordship +1. I have to, I can't muster, so it doesn't matter. Flooded river crossing. Alp Arslan immediately undergoes wastage 3 times. Okay, this is one I have to look at. This gets marked, but wastage normally is only if they have multiple. Now, he's going to get hit multiple times anyway, because even if he were to take 3 wastage, he would still lose a whole bunch of stuff. But the question is this something worse than that? And let me look that up. This is going to be R1 to see if, let's say he didn't have the multiple carts here. He has 4 carts, which is probably what he's going to lose. Would he lose all that, would he take wastage even though, like, if he had 1 of each thing, would he still be affected by the impact of it? I'm assuming no, because it says wastage, but you never know. Once I stop trusting that the cards read explicitly what they mean, and I have to start looking up some of them, even if I would have no question on this one if I hadn't faced that before. Now I have to look up almost every card. Yeah, this one, nothing to do with the rules, just, okay, what's the historical? But this one definitely was that. So I've got to find the marker for that. There it is. And we'll put that here to remind us, because that can't happen again. But he's going to take heavy wastage. I need my provender. I don't need as many carts as I have. I might want military. I certainly don't want to lose coins. I'm going to take it on 3 carts. That's kind of extreme. You wouldn't normally do that, like you take the provender or whatever, but I feel like this works okay because I can feed off of here. I got my snot rag there. It's just toilet paper. As soon as the weather gets cold or whatever, I feel like I constantly have sniffles. I've had them a lot recently. I think I've been kind of a little sick throughout the summer various times. But now it's just like my nose just doesn't stop running. When I'm up here, when I'm downstairs where there's a little bit more heat, maybe that's where I'm not talking as much. I don't get hit by it. All right. I gotta swap batteries. Let's finish up Levy. I feel like I should take a break now, but I don't know. Payoffs are gonna be a little weird. Let's start off with Taurus. He needs to pay to keep himself alive. The Seljuks don't need to pay anything. They don't have anybody in place. So I'll pay 1 and move his whole stack up. I want to pay... No, I'm going to disband this. I'll let it just disband. It gets it off my bother. You know, I don't want it on my attention. The fuck? How'd that happen? Why'd that happen? Wow. I must have like just done that. So I don't want to pay that off because I got a lot of time to get to him. And I don't need those extra troops. But I do not know if I need extra troops with him. I think if I let him expire as well. See, here's the problem. Next turn I'm going to have to pay him anyway. But I think if I let him expire as well, that's okay too. Now this changes the dynamics, though, of the game. In terms that, like, Alp Arslan now has enough forces that maybe he could beat that, but I don't feel like he has the real advantage. Since we're doing an actual, invested siege, not assaulting anything, this is it's perfectly reasonable to strip my troops down for next year. Let them go home. And I think one of the things is this guy, I don't know which way he wants to go, right? But I don't want to pay a coin right now when that coin could keep him in the field an extra turn next year. I don't want to disband him because he has a couple of coin on him. Technically, these guys are flipped over so that I can't muster them again when I hit the muster phase. But they can't muster anyway. So I'm not going to worry about it. Only one person can, and that's him. How about the Empress card? Because I'm beginning to sour on it. It has 2 capabilities. Well, no, it's worth it. Yeah, okay. I thought, I had to throw a coin on it like I have to for here. But that's not the case. So yeah, this is actually kind of interesting because without coin, I could actually keep him operating a little bit longer. Or somebody, I screwed up with him. I did not want to spend a coin. I forgot he had loot. He wants to spend the loot. It's nothing special to the Imperials. I'm in a place where I could have paid with loot as opposed to coin. And yeah, it's just much, much better. I think I am going to drop the Empress down. And I think I decided to up my cart to a cart 4 for the other action. I could have brought more troops in, but again, I'm not really threatened. No real reason to bring stuff in that I could dismiss in a moment. So let me find her Is there? Yeah. That'll put that on the call to arms. These. What is his other? He can remove a loot from Mosul or Baghdad to shift a Seljuk cylinder. Oh wait, am I misreading this? She can only, yeah, she can't improve service. She can bring a cylinder closer, or she can decrease a lord's service to improve Diogenes' service. I still think she's of some value. Bringing new lords, recycling lords more quickly and stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep her out there, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really have anything, because I don't have anything that helps with a siege. I don't have a call to arms that I want to do with them unless I want to pay a coin. I think I do. Lots of words that meant nothing. I can transfer a card from Alp Arslan to this card, or spend coin. Yeah, technically I actually don't have the coin here. I don't have the marker there. I have the coin here. I think I did that right the first time. The first game that I played, but not in this one. I guess the only thing that matters with that is I could store up more coin, but I feel what I did was completely legal. It was just, I mean, it wasn't, but it didn't change the outcome and couldn't change the outcome. Anyway, that's going to put me to the campaigns, and I'm feeling really kind of sluggish, want to read or something. I don't know. The fact that I have the sniffles so bad is what bugs me here. Come up here is always a hard one. I prepped my command cards, but I mean, you know, I fucked around on the computer for a while, playing my little games, whatever, and had been intending to read, but then I'm like, I want this pipe. So I have two pipes that I like when I'm drinking coffee with the tobacco I use for that. This is the one that I like for the dark tobacco, that I also is my favorite pipe to smoke up here for whatever reason while I'm gaming. It's just a good one to, in a lot of ways. I don't know. You know, but anyway, once I decided to fill this pipe, it's like, yeah, let's just go up instead of reading. Even though I enjoy reading more than gaming in a lot of ways. I'm reading something I'm enjoying right now. And stay tuned for the book discussion if you want to know what. It's not one of my standards, but whatever. All right, so we're all set. A little bit weird, because like, I want Alp Arslan to succeed. I want these sieges to succeed, but then I also want to do other stuff. And for the Romans, I want to see if I can succeed at sieging Hama. So, you know, that's actually my pairing here. Here, my goal is Arslan to complete the siege, and then Arasigi to do some raiding, if possible. Arslan may too, but sieges are so rough, right? And I don't want to ravage, because the ravage flips over. I don't know. I gotta look this up, because it feels like it depends on whether or not, like when I looked at it, it depends on whether or not it's an assault. So if I ravage it before I go for a surrender roll, it doesn't flip, is I think what I saw. I don't know. Conduct a couple of, supply then siege operations, both getting up to siege 3. This is problematic again for the Romans. Conceivably, Arslan could march up and fight them. But if I lose the battle, then I would lose. Well, actually, I can't. I have too much stuff with me. If you lose the battle, you lose loot, and then the enemy army can feed. And that doesn't work very well. So, plus, he's got coinage on his army, so he doesn't actually need the food. He can pay them off. So, yeah, he's pretty safe even though he's out of forage. Edessa, no, not Edessa. Yeah, Edessa. I always think Edessa's far east because I'm used to like the Crusades map, which kind of cuts off here, right? So, anyway, Edessa fell. No great big deal here, except I wanted to take it. If I was gonna be invested in siege, I kind of feel like I have to continue it. That means I have another Alp Arslan card coming, where I can move him forward and start penetrating a little bit better. But I only have one cart, which is a problem because here I need 2 to get back. Yuck. I might move forward, raid, and then move back or something like that. Who knows? But these themata have been doing a really good job at preventing any raiding. I don't want to spend 2 actions. So, and now Edessa is no longer raidable by me. For the Romans, they managed to do their ravage. They got enough supplies that they can do 1 more siege. That's all they're going to have. I only have 1 more of his cards in the deck. I don't have any of him in there. So I got to hope for the best. Moved up, ravaged with 2 extra points. Now, if I can get Arsigi and Alp Arslan together again, Arsigi's going to do stuff. This loot can go back as victory points. Otherwise, I'm kind of fucked. Let me look at the loot rules here because they're kind of weird. I don't know where the end of the turn is. It's like, here it is. It's before battle for some reason. I don't know. It might not work either way. But if I go to the bounty, a Seljuk who can trace a path of locales. Oh, I actually don't need carts for this. Oh, no, I do. Up to the number of carts he and co-located. Okay. 1 VP per loot on his up to the number of cards he and co-located lords currently possess. The cards do not need to be assigned to a way. Their number just limits the amount of loot. Oh, so yeah, actually I'm fine. His cart can carry 1 loot back. His cart can carry 1 loot back. I might want to loot further, but I'm actually okay. I don't have to assign to the way, so I don't need 2 carts to travel that. I think that's what I need. Now I'm confused. Because it may not, I may be misdoing the supply rule. At least 1 for each road, 2 for each pass. Yeah, okay. But I don't have to worry about that with the loot. I just need the carts to be able to traverse, I guess, to protect the loot traveling. Because remember, a lot of the loot is going to be livestock. And then what I forgot, Shataturos opened up his siege here. He gathered up some provender. I had 1 extra action, but yeah, not much I could do. Like, I was fully loaded. Or pillaging or whatever, what is it called? Ravaging. There's something interesting with this. I can do this on any enemy locale, which is of some importance because I could move to a place like one of these and perform it. I'm on Arasigi now. I'm going to think about this. So I don't need food for Arasigi to begin. He could move here for 1, 2. I'm sorry, 1. 2, I can try to loot that. This isn't an important province. I can't think of any better use than this for it. So we'll commit. And we don't get a 1, so it's killed. Because this is just fucking militia. And we get one of these ravaged with another half victory point. And we get the provender that we need to complete our turn. This was a little risky. I might have had to spend my coin. So I spent 1 to move, 2 to ravage. 3 I'll move up here. And then 4 I ravage again. And here I'll put a Tagmata because it's got a better defensive chance. And I'm bypassing right now. I kill it. And I get a bypass. Sorry, I get one of these. This goes up here. We're making some definite grounds now. We get another provender and a loot. Now, can we eat the loot? I think so. We can't spend it as if it's money there, but I think we can eat it. Yeah. Question is, do we want to? And we've got to consider what we're going to have. I don't want to be traveling laden, but I'm traveling laden no matter what. So I'll hold on to the loot, because I only have 1 cart with me. And that's going to be somewhat problematic. If I can get that loot... I have to get it to a base. Hey, this is where I always fuck up. If I can get that loot, to my seat, which pretty much means here. Otherwise, my walk back is to here, essentially. And that's, you know, that's ridiculous, right? So this is the only place that I can really capitalize on bringing loot back. And I can only bring 1 back unless, I guess I'm actually parked at my seat, in which case I could maybe cash them all in. I'm not sure about that because I have to be able to trace back to my seat, and I have to have carts equal. I think I'm just screwed no matter what, that even if I make it all the way back here, I still only have 1 cart, so I can only haul 1 loot, even if I'm already at a seat. For whatever that matters. But I'm planning on eating my loot if I need to. Or dumping it, or whatever. I just need to get points. So right now, my points are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I count that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 more places to avoid losing victory points. And then I can start worrying about bringing my loot home. But if I get 1 more and can get it home, whatever, and I have the Winter March if I want it. So all kind of stuff going on there. I think we continue with the siege here. I think Romanos is my last card. I'll be back. Up and given Arsigi 1 extra command and played him as if he had 4 commands last turn. I don't know. This time he only played 3, and the reason I think I may have is this would have cost me 1, 2, 3. But did I do something there? I don't know. But here he failed to ravage because he had to move Leyden to get there. And then, and here's the problem. I'm not going to be able to make my way home easily, right? This has to be bypassed. So if I do 1, 2, I can go back here, 3, 4, but the problem is that I probably should have gone here. The problem is I'll have loot with me, which means I can't move that quickly. And I can't just dump it. Well, actually, I think I can dump it to move more rapidly, which might be worthwhile. But there's no real point if I don't have loot with me to try to get back here. So, whatever. Could get to here. Am I able to use bypassed stuff? Yeah, I'm able to use bypass strongholds, so I could actually trace through here. That's interesting. Which means if I go here and then here, I will have the cart. I'd be able to bring a loot home. Maybe, sort of, kind of. We'll see. Shadow Taurus, I know I've got a Romanos as the bottom card here. He failed in his siege, and that means it's just going to be abandoned because I don't have any cards that let me extend my stay. But, you know, we made a try. We could have raided it, gotten a victory point, gotten some loot and stuff. But the kind of nice thing here... Oh, no, it's not a nice thing. Never mind. I'll end up eating the provender. As my wastage. Anyway, let's see what I can figure out here. Remember, I do have the winter card. I don't know what else I have. I have something, this summer heat, which seemed like it would be really useful. But then I was holding off on playing it because I forgot it could only be played in summer. Forgot what the title was. And so I thought, well, if these guys succeed in their siege, you know, I'll fuck with them with it. But otherwise, I'll hold off. Well, now it's just sitting in my pile. And what do I have here? I have the mountain ambush as well, which is useful. And then a Romanos muster card that hasn't been useful since I drew it because I've been outside of Roman territory. All right, then. We should have another Arasigi. Let me figure this out. I had to check the greed rule to make sure I'm right about it. Lords can discard assets only if needed to help them move, march laden or unladen, avoid battle or retreat, or as rules or card text require. So, yeah. I am allowed to do it for movement. So I think I could actually get into a good position somehow. Because this is where I need to be, and that's not too bad. You got a double failure. I tried to loot here, and then I tried to loot here. In both cases, I was stopped by this. I just want to spend 1 point, you know? And that puts me to my last siege attempt. Now, this is a 1-point fort, I think. And I just need a 3 or less. I have the food. I succeed. So I take that. Big gain. I put the command marker there. That puts me up to 1.5. I don't lose this because it wasn't an assault. I do have to eat. And I take this strategic objective, and that puts me up another 1. So I'm kind of pushing my victory points forward. I think I could strategic command this again if it falls or something. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. But anyway, I have to eat. And I have 2 lords there. So I would call that a successful campaign by Romanos. He took something. It was a strategic objective. It's all good in a lot of different ways. And now I'm at my last chance, which is the winter campaign. Playing winter to activate a Seljuk lord. Activate means I get my full 3 commands. The most important is here. He's going to defend again. I'm only spending 1 because I need 2 to cross the mountain. I can't cross the mountains. I need 3 to cross the mountains. I'm only spending 1. Fails. That's an infantry up there, I think. I can't really tell. I can't tell the difference between the infantry and the stupid things. Okay. Well, I can't get up there and have movement. So there's 2, and we're defended against again on our 3rd as we try to loot. And it's successful again, so we failed. Yeah, if I had succeeded... No, because I couldn't get the loot down here. No matter what, it was just not going to work. I wasn't going to get into position. And this is... yeah, this terrain is just nasty. You know, there's no mountain here, but I can't cross between these, and it just feels weird. A lot of times point to point. Like, there may be something hidden here that I don't see, but I'm like, yeah, why isn't there some kind of path? There's got to be a way across, you know? The road network that the Romans laid down in that area should still be pretty extensive. Anyway, that gets me... I mean, the Byzantines are holding that territory. I assume they maintain most of those roads, and that's not mountainous terrain, so what's up? Locales grow for whatever it's worth. This goes back. He's going to have to abandon that, though, anyway. We hit wastage. We're going to hit winter in a moment. Let me just check my wastage. He's fine. He's fine. How about that? Gotta check over here. They're not fine. There's a provender. Keep all those carts. I had to pay a lot for them. Loot more valuable than provender. I can use loot as pay. No reason for that. But here, we got an issue. I mean, I want a cart with me. Fucking 2 coins is what I'm carrying too much of. But coins are too hard to get to throw away. Why you should spend your coins on pay when you have a lot of them? Yeah, I know. I know. Okay. Reset. Okay, players can discard their Art of War cards if they want. I don't think anybody particularly wants to. This one goes away because I didn't do anything with it. Now we're at the winter. Aleppo's not converted, but we get to bounty this loot over here. And that's another victory point for the Seljuks. Seljuk unity. Okay, not so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're down 2. Now, I don't remember what I'm supposed to put. I think it's loot markers. In Constantinople. Okay, first I lose this. That's one. And then I think I put a loot in. Where do we find it? Roman conquered 1 VPs in Constantinople. I don't know, why you would choose one, why it matters one over the other. But yeah. And so they come ahead and have the victory here. These will be removed if... And then we hit our winter quarters, where we fall back to here, which is where we want to be. We don't have to, but that's where we want to be. And the Romans both have to go back to Constantinople with this taken. This goes away, but I have one paid for here. And then that should be it. We move the marker, which should be on campaign always, but only sits on levy there. And there we got through the first year, and I feel like I was a lot more comfortable with my actions this time than I was in the previous play. And again, this is important because this is a game I really, really want to like, right? I mean, I'm giving it more of a chance than maybe I would have. I kind of feel this way about most of the levying campaigns, that I really want to like them, and I know that it's just me that's struggling, but they have just such an overhead in terms of being able to effectively utilize your forces, that they kind of fuck with me pretty hard because of that. All right, let's put this up. This will be Seljuk II-1. And, it isn't that bad, right? The victory points are close to each other. The Romans are a half point ahead of the Seljuks. Yeah, the Seljuks started, like a point or a half point ahead. But I feel like I'm somewhere, and might be able to keep it as a close game without fucking up completely. But of course, I didn't think that I was going to fuck up completely on the coins and have both players basically lose last game. So, all right, we'll send this up.